So apologies for the crash, and thank you to Ethan for helping me see what the reason I crashed. And that is going in and actually creating this time the proper setting for the panel. I had one setting okay, but I didn't change another one. And here's what I mean. If I go in and I say that I want to look at my horizontal louver infill, right? And I just pull a small portion of that out. My louvers are horizontal, but what if I want them to be vertical now? Well, in order to make them vertical, I want to go in and select that wall, and I want to edit the type, and I want to duplicate that type and call this vertical louver infill. Okay, and I'll hit OK. And now in this instance, instead of using a horizontal grid, I'm going to say none for here, but I'm going to use a vertical grid and say fixed distance, or I'm sorry, maximum spacing, I believe is what I had in there. And then I had 0 space 3.25. And then down here, instead of having my rectangular mullion here, I'm not going to use rectangular. In that place, I'm going to put none. I'm going to go ahead and use that over here and see what I get and hit OK. And it's probably going to give me a notice saying, do I want to delete the grid? And it's going to take a few seconds, so I'll pause the video while it does it. So what we see here is that it says these grid lines become non-associated. We're just going to say delete grid lines and give it another couple of seconds. And hopefully it's going to flip our grid the other way, right? So now we have this grid going the other direction, which is pretty cool. So can we apply that to this particular wall? Well, yeah, we can, but we have to take that extra step. If I click on this and I just say go in here, right? I can go to frame louver, but what I want to do is say edit type and duplicate and say frame louver, and in this case vertical. I could have named the other one horizontal, but I'm going to say this is the vertical one. And instead of it being horizontal louver infill, what if I said let's do vertical? And now I'm going to go ahead and pause while it goes about the business of converting that. So here we are. We're going to say delete the grid line. And now hopefully in another few seconds, it'll give us our vertical louver. And we'll wait and wait. Okay, so here we are back in now. And now look what we have. We have these vertical louvers, which is another way, another direction you can go with that. And what's interesting about that, what if we went into this louver and we right clicked and we did what? We said duplicate. And for this louver, instead of it being wood, what if we wanted it to be glass? Okay. And I go into this louver now, and instead of having that cherry material, I say I want it to be glass. There's glass. I say OK. Hit OK again. And now with these vertical ones, what if I go in here, right? And not to all of them, but just to this one, if I hover, remember, we can still hover to this panel. We can go click and we can unpin it. And now in this vertical louver infill, what if in this particular one I tried to go in and I wanted to change this, right, to the one that is glass. And now it changes it to glass, right? Now, what if I want to go in and say, in this instance, I want to edit the type one more time, or do I want to edit that, or do I want to edit my louver, and do I want to tilt my louver maybe 30 degrees? So now my louver is what? It's tilted 30 degrees now. You can see it's turned now. So, kind of a little bit of fun you can have with these. And you know what's even more interesting? In the last video, we'll get into editing the wall profile and see what kind of things we can do with that. But go in and experiment for the next 10 minutes or so. Try and get your louvers to change. Turn to a vertical. I'll go ahead and delete this one now. But you see now I have a horizontal one, and I could make glass louvers for that. I can even mix these up. Maybe I'll show you that in the last video where we can mix these up and have wood and glass as well. Okay, so I'll go ahead and stop this and we'll pick this up in the next video.